Okay, everybody, welcome to the Blockchain Marine Show. This is Derek here. I am the Blockchain Marine. Well, last week we talked about a very interesting topic. We talked about the history of money. We talked about the history of money, so now we need to start working on the mindset. So, in order for you to do anything, your mind has to be right. You have to understand how you got there. You have to understand the meaning behind a lot of the chaotic and crazy stuff that sometimes it just doesn't even make sense. Well, we're going to make some sense of some of this stuff today. That is going to be our goal. We are going to for sure do that. So let's go ahead on and let's get started with this whole thing. We are going to be talking about the lie of systemic racism. Okay, folks, that is going to be the topic today. Now, we're going to start. The first part of this whole discussion is going to be about the foundation of sovereignty. So we're going to start out showing you that very thing. Okay. So now we're going to start with the successes, because left to our own devices, we were thriving actually. So let's talk about the era before integration. I'm going to highlight a few things here. So if you remember, back, we had the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay. Now, so it looks like when you look back in history, when we were left to our own devices, the communities we were building were self-sufficient. I mean, they were independent communities, creating generational wealth and power for our people. That's what we were getting. Now, during this time, there were actually several renowned black inventors, actually. I'm going to highlight a few of them here. We had Madam C.J. Walker. You had Garrett Morgan, Dr. Charles Drew. I'm going to put another one on here that you have Benjamin Banneker. You have George Washington Carver. And some of these, we're going to talk about some of these later on. I'm going to go into more specifics as to what they did. But just wanted to highlight those names for you, because we had successes, folks. I mean, we did. So what does that mean? We didn't have government support or any of that stuff. Then we were left to our own. That's what we did. We thrived. Okay. Now, so that is pretty much the core argument of this part of it. Okay. When we were left to our own, independent of government, look at what we did. It was beautiful. I encourage some of you to go and do your own research. Look into this stuff for yourself. You'll see. Some of you might be old enough to remember that stuff. I have no idea. It's before my time, but I like history, so I don't mind digging. Now, we're going to go into the start of, I guess you want to say, the deception. We're going to start with the political deception. It started there. That's the start of the decline, was at the political level. And this was specifically with LBJ. LBJ. Now, LBJ, basically, some of you remember this, you've heard about this quote that happened when he met with Martin Luther King Jr. And basically, when they were discussing getting civil rights and all of this kind of stuff going on at the time, there was a famous quote, and I mean, I can't use the terminology that was used in it, but you're going to understand the word that was used in place of the word that I'm going to use. He basically said, I'll have them Negroes voting Democrat for 200 years. He didn't use the word Negro. All right. Now, regardless of whether this is factual, because this has all been somewhat of a known thing, but there's nothing been that has been, I guess, concrete on that. So I have full transparency with when I put stuff out there. But regardless of that, of whether it's factual or not, the sentiment behind it, okay? The sentiment behind that quote is a powerful insight into how political strategy can create a long-term voting block, people. And you can't deny the results. So I'll let you figure that out. All right. Now, we're going to start with what happened after this. Okay, so let's see how they were able to do this, keeping those Negroes voting Democrat for 200 years. It started with the Great Society programs that came about in the 1960s. Now, all of these programs, of course, everything is always laced in gold. It's put out there for you to, how can I say, they sell you a bag of goods in telling you that it's going to be good for you, correct? Now, there was unintended consequences, or were they unintended? This is the thing you got to understand. Were these unintended consequences, or did they know what they were doing from the start? I believe they knew what they were doing from the start, if you ask my opinion. And that one unintended consequence was the breakdown of the nuclear family. This is when it started right here, folks. It started right here because a lot of these programs were incentivized to take the male out the household. You couldn't get these benefits with a male in the household. Bingo. Now, this is where we start getting a little touchy, but it's the truth. I mean, if it stinks, it stinks. But guess what? Another way that they were able to lay these programs out is they used the black churches for this stuff. The black churches used to be the pillar of our society. It used to be the pillar of independence and self-sufficiency, all of that stuff. That's what it was. It was like the backbone of the community. Now, that same backbone of the community that had the trust of the people and all of this kind of stuff, because that's we're very traditional. Black people are. So when something is established like that, it becomes like the authority. And that authority let you down because that authority has been doing nothing but preaching for you to keep voting a certain way. Okay? Blindly, obviously. So you think about this. That's what they've been doing. And there were certain people who think about it. And this is what I tell people all the time. Does somebody who is like some kind of civil rights activist, or, you know, they're into the racial or racism and stuff like this, do they really want it to be fixed? Because if it's fixed, what are they going to do? What do we need them for? We don't need them. That's just it. We don't need them. So therefore, they don't want it fixed. They'll be out of a job. Okay? Now, we talked about the start of the decline. So now we're going to go into the next section. The next section of this thing is the systemic problem. And that is the welfare state and the decline of the family. We're going to go a little deeper into that decline of the family part of it. All right. So now we're going to talk about a little historical data here to back some of this stuff up. Some of this stuff might be a little shocking for some of you because this stuff is, let me just tell you, folks, this is, woo-wee. it goes a little deep here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit some of this stuff. So now, on this whole historical data part, because I got to pull some of this stuff up because it's impossible for me to remember like all of these kind of details. But I will mention this here before we get into all of this data part of it. You know, before these programs, the rate of two-parent households in the black community was comparable to that of the white community. And the structure of these welfare programs made it more financially advantageous for a household to be headed by what? A single mother. That's what they created. Took the male out of the household. And now some people might say, well, they look, and because I'm one of them, and you look and you see the same thing happening to white people too, right? Oh. Now we're going to go and talk about that. Now this is where we're going to hit the data part of it. Let's talk about the data. All right. So now the out of wedlock birth rates in the black community was around 2% in 1940. That means it hardly existed. Okay. And it rose to over 20% in 1960. That is when the program started rolling out. So they had an immediate effect, 20%, and then dramatically increased to over 70% by the 1990s. 70%. So this is correlating to the expansion of these programs, because that's exactly what happened. They started expanding, and then we started getting into a whole bunch of other stuff in the 1990s, which I can do a whole nother video on that. That's when we started getting into the private prison systems and all of this other stuff, gangster rap, telling people pumping people up to basically do all of the stuff that makes us look the way that we do. It's just what it is. Now, I want to give you a contrast to this whole thing, right? Now, this is the part that's going to blow your mind. So now, in parallel to those numbers I just gave you right there, the out of wedlock birth rate for white families remained relatively low during this period, rising from approximately 2%, which was the same as it was for us. It was the same for everybody, around 2% in 1940. And then theirs increased to 10% by 1970. By 1970 is when theirs increased to 10%. Ours is already at 20 a decade before that. And the increasing and the increasing numbers rose significantly to 25 to 30% in the 1990s, which is still a stark contrast to the 70% for the black community. So this is basically indicating a completely different trajectory for two different people. Okay? So you have to ask yourself, was it done on purpose? Of course it was. I just explained to you about the history of money. You see how smart these people are smart. They're smart. They're not dumb. And they're very patient. So they do this stuff slow. Because if you do it slow, you'll never know. You'll never noticed what they're doing. Now, so I hope those numbers woke you up. So now we're going to talk about the deception, the consolidation of power. So, folks, what we have going on here is basically a new form of, you don't have a plantation anymore. Instead of a plantation, you have what is called a corporation. Okay. Now, in a corporation, it doesn't matter whether you're white, black, or whatever. But guess what? I'm going to do a whole nother show on this thing here, too. It was the same way on the plantation, though, too. And we're going to talk about that. That's a whole nother thing. Folks, I'm going to give you the whole complete picture of this whole thing to empower you to do what? Take control of yourself. Now, what we're going to talk about here with the corporation, instead of having the plantation, you got a corporation. So on the plantation, you had chains. They put you in chains, and you went and did whatever work that they needed you to do on that plantation. You were basically in chains. Okay. Now, here's the instead of on a corporation, of course they don't slavery, as they call it, was abolished. So they can't do that anymore. So they got to figure out a new technique. How many people say that they hate their job, but they stay on it because of what? The benefits are good and the pay is good. The pay is too good and the benefits are too good for me to quit. So, I'm just going to ride this out and do my 20. So they're going to be miserable for 20 years. What the hell does that sound like to you? The same damn thing as doing what? Freaking slavery. They enslaved you with those benefits. And you don't want to lose them because you can't afford to lose your health care insurance. You can't afford to lose your 401k or whatever pension you got on that job. You can't afford to lose that stuff. You can't afford to lose that salary you got either, because guess what? The wife comes home, whatever, and she expecting that check, right? Which is a whole nother thing, whatever. Folks, we are screwed up over here in America. I'm here to tell you. It's our society. We have a lot of work to do in fixing this stuff. And it starts by looking in the mirror. Now, but let's talk about the systemic lie, because that was what we were talking about, right? The lie of systemic racism, right? So what was the systemic lie? Okay? The systemic lie. See, systemic racism is a term used. It's like a distraction. It's distracting you from the true issues, which is the broken welfare state, the erosion of family, and the political consolidation of power. That's what it is. Think about it, folks. We are the welfare state is, the welfare is broken. We got a broken welfare state. We got, preaching victimhood. Okay? That's what's happening. The erosion of the family, we just talked about that. And then look at how powerful these political parties have gotten now. Look how powerful they are. It's crazy. How are you going to really compete against that? Only thing they do is come around. They only give you attention when it's time to get your vote. After that, they can give 2 bits about you. The question is, you're letting them do it. You let them come around every 4 years and pat you on the back and get that vote from you. And then after that, they don't care nothing about you. And they show they don't care nothing about you, because guess what? Has any damn thing changed? No, it has not. Now, all of this stuff is designed to do one thing. It prevents the rise of self-sufficient entrepreneurial black class, and it discourages individual responsibility and promotes the mindset of what I just said earlier, victimhood. We have too many victims out here. I see it on the TV all the time. Victim. Oh yeah. And then as soon as you disagree with somebody, and this is how I know this stuff is programmed into people. Do I sound like I'm a racist person? No. I'm talking about racist against my own people. Because guess what? I remember in 2016, I was on Facebook, and it was a black lady. I won't say her name. She said something, and then I gave a response back. And because I didn't respond the way that, I'm supposed to respond, she said, "Oh, you racist." How can I be racist? That doesn't even make any flipping sense, because it was a programmed response, and it proved that point to me. See, I pay attention to stuff like that. All the little details of things, what people say and all this stuff. People think I play dumb sometimes too. I don't even want to say all that though. I've always been smart. I play dumb. I play dumb sometimes to for my own benefit at times, because I love it when someone likes to underestimate me and thinking I don't know what I'm talking about, and I run circles around their ass. But that's just like that's what I like to do. Now, but that's what this is promoting, though. It's stopping self-sufficiency. It's stopping a mindset of independence, of sovereignty, but promoting what? Victimhood. Victims. Victimization. It's all, that's what they preach. Victimization, 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 victimization. Okay, so, well, what are you doing to solve this problem? By giving you more programs, giving you more stuff, more free stuff, to the point where, guess what? I'm seeing people wanting socialism and all this kind of stuff. Well, what happens when they run out of people to give the money to? That's what happens. They run out of people. They run out of the money to give to people. So it doesn't work. It has never worked. And what did I just show you? Before all of this stuff, we thrived. They were scared of that. And the next show that I do, I'm gonna do something else, and it's gonna highlight some of this stuff. I'm building you guys up for some things here. We're gonna have fun on this show because I'm gonna give it to you raw. If you don't like it, well, then I guess you need to go and listen to the rest of the fake stuff that you continue to listen to, and that's fine. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about America. Freedom. You do not have to listen. Bye. You can go. It's not a problem. Only people that are going to be listening to this are those who want to empower themselves and learn, because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if that's you, then you stay put, because you're in the right place. You're going to get it. Now, let's move on to this next section here. Personal sovereignty. Okay? We're going to start talking about the solution now. Okay? It starts with mindset and personal responsibility. Okay? The solution is definitely not politics, government programs, but it's all in the mindset of personal responsibility, discipline, and sovereignty. That's where it starts. Personal responsibility, discipline, and sovereignty. You can hear a pin drop. Now, blockchain as a solution to your problems. That's what this whole thing is about, folks. That's what you're seeing going on right now in the world, in America. That's what they're doing. They're gearing you up for the new system. The system is broke, folks. The writing is on the wall. I already told you it was two different ways this was going to go: centralized, decentralized, which is basically, really putting the chains on you, or, you're being free. That's pretty much what people voted for. Okay. Now, with blockchain, Bitcoin, blockchain in general is the solution, folks, because with Bitcoin being decentralized, limited supply, the transparency of it, the security of it. It is giving you sovereignty over your money. Blockchain in general is going to transform society as well, because now what are the problems you be hearing? What are you hearing about? One of the big issues is voting systems, right? Well, if we did the voting on blockchain, and actually in West Virginia, they just did a pilot test on that. It should have already happened, because I did an article on that earlier. I did a post on that earlier this year, and they were testing that out in May. I'm going to go and look into that and see how all of that went. But basically, blockchain is going to allow you to be able to vote, and everything is transparent. Of course, your vote is still anonymous. They don't know who cast the vote, but you can see the votes. So there can be no funny business in blockchain because of the transparency part of it. You see, we're going into a whole new realm, a whole new era of things, folks. So really, I'm so tempted to want to go into other tangents on this stuff, but I got to stay focused and stay on this here, whatever. I just have to do another show on some of this other stuff that I want to bring up and bring into this, though, but I can't do it. So we're just going to have to do another show for some of this other stuff that I want to say. Okay? So now, folks, this is what you got to do. We got to start thinking for ourselves. And this really doesn't, I'm giving you all of this stuff because black people, my people, we have been messed with too long. And it's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to take self-responsibility and quit waiting on somebody to come save your ass, because nobody is coming to save you. If you want to get saved, go look in the flipping mirror and freaking get your butt in gear and do what you need to do. You keep doing the same old freaking thing, and what are you expecting? Something different to happen, right? And has it happened yet? No. What do they say that's the definition of? Insanity. Stop doing it. You have to do it yourself, okay? You got to do it. Now, that's why I do this. Keep coming back, folks. Keep hearing more. That's what this whole thing is about. Blockchain is your solution. For those of you that want to learn more about blockchain, you can go to my website, which is blockchainbasicsacademy.com. Go on there. Look at what we got. And I'm here to tell you, you're going to learn blockchain. You're going to understand it. You're going to feel comfortable going out here and investing and doing what you need to do, because you're going to have that competence. You're going to know what you're doing. You're not just going to be out here just free, just going, nilly-willy on this stuff. And that's how you lose a lot of money. That's not empowerment. That's trying to put you back into the victimization. Well, I'm empowering you. And it starts with knowledge. But knowledge is useless if you don't apply it. Because knowledge is not power, it's knowledge applied. It's power, folks. Okay? So now, that's all said and done. I mean, you can see now, in the beginning, when we were left to our own devices, we thrived. We thrived. It wasn't until the government stepped in that we went down. You can look and see this. The same thing happens globally. Countries, they're looking to improve their situation, so then they go and have to get these loans to the IMF or whoever. They get these loans, and then when they come in, with the loans, they bring in the same exact social programs. You got people who are traditional people. I don't have anything against gay people or any of that stuff. I really don't. Hell, I used to go to a bar that everybody was in there, including gay people. I don't have anything against them. They do what you want to do. Matter of fact, most people really don't care about that stuff. But you know what they do care? Is when you throw it in their freaking face. Because everybody has a right. Just like you got a right to be gay, other people have a right to not be gay, and they got also a right to not be exposed to it if they don't want to be exposed to it. But they throw it on you. And this is actually probably that's another tangent I'm trying to get into, and I'm going to do it. But it's hard. When you know the amount of stuff that I know, it's easy for that to happen. But let's try and stay back on track here. But going back to what I was saying here, folks, this is about you taking control of yourself. They come in and they bring all these social programs. They do it globally. They'll take a country that is very traditional, and how they do things. They actually believe in the nuclear family, where the man is the head of the household and the woman follows the man. And the man leads the woman and his household, and he takes them to their promised land, or whatever you want to call it. Does it always work out that way? Nope. But guess what? It's going to happen that way more times than not. But you want to know what they do? They go in and they bring all these other things, and they do the same thing, trying to divide the families. They're pros at this stuff. They know how to do it, and they do it worldwide. Okay? Now, I told you about how when we left to our own devices, and I listed a number of inventors. So let's talk about this here, because I don't like to leave things on like a negative thing. So I'm going to show you what the power that we had before, without the government's help, when we were we were segregated, doing our own flipping thing. No one helping us out. This is what we could do. You have Garrett Morgan here. He invented the 3-light traffic signal and the gas mask, which was instrumental in saving lives during World War I and in various fire rescue efforts. A black man. Madam C.J. Walker pioneered a line of hair care products for black women and was one of the first American women to become a self-made millionaire. Black woman. George Washington Carver, a prolific inventor who developed over 300 products from peanuts, including milk, plastics, dyes, helping revolutionize Southern agriculture. We also had Lonnie G. Johnson, invented the Super Soaker water gun. You remember those things, right? Which became one of the best-selling toys of all time. Black man. Dr. Charles Drew revolutionized blood storage techniques, which led to the creation of large-scale blood banks. Black man. Marie Van Britten Brown co-invented the first home security system in 1966, which laid the foundation for modern security systems. A black woman. Come on now. We are not flipping inferior. You don't need it. You don't need the help. All you need is the understanding and knowing that you a damn boss. You are. You come from kings and queens. See, folks, I go deep on this show. I don't hold back. We are the originals here on this planet. When you go into Europe and you see all these like majority white populations, how many of them white people can produce me? Can any of them produce me? Nope. I obviously didn't come from them, did I? But guess what? Guess what black people can do? A light version can come out. We can make you. Might be a little too deep for you. Do not be a victim anymore. You stand up, you stand tall. And guess what? The next show that I do, you're going to learn something that, you know what? Not all white people were on the same level of what you are seeing today either. We're going to talk about a lot of things here on this show. I'm telling you, I go deep on this stuff, and this is important. It's important for you to get your mindset right so you understand where you came from, so you understand where you need to go. Because this show really, I don't do this stuff. This ain't just for black people. There's white people out here too. They need some empowerment too. Some of them. Like I said, you saw they're being affected by that taking the male out of the household. There's a lot of them out there too. Just not as It's not as bad as it is what it happened to us. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I gear it for us. But anybody can use it. All right, folks. Well, I'm wrapping up the show for today. I enjoyed it. I love doing this stuff. This stuff is fun for me. So I look forward to the next one. And stay tuned. Please, if you're enjoying this, like, subscribe, follow me, please. Do it. Go to my website, blockchainbasicacademy.com, if you want to learn blockchain. If you want the calm and the chaos, stay tuned. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and end it on out right now. And, hoorah.